All right. Shalom, shalom, and shalom, Sister Deborah, prophetess in the wilderness. And you know what? That's all right with me. Coming again on this Deborah platform with another message. I will say that it's a lovely morning in which the Most High Yah has made, and I, Sister Deborah, shall, and I will, I will rest therein. I want to come to you with a message, and I don't want to really be all over the place. I just really want to land just right where I need to land, and that is in spirit and truth. When you understand spirit and truth, is when the ruach of the Creator is residing in you and activated to the point where you are fully activated to the point where He's allowing you to understand the things that rest therein with Him in spirit and truth. Spirit and truth is not what people call the Bible or the 1611 or all these other books and no, that's not it. These books and this Bible is not spirit and truth. Okay, so I want to just take you to where we can kind of understand He that holds spirit and truth and that has the power over the beginning to the end and everything in between. Because I really want to say that I really wanted to title this message, The Biggest War on Earth is Righteous, but the Father said, not so, Deborah, not so. Because I thought it was fit, because I kind of think that way. But He said, no, not so, not so. Righteous is not at war today, y'all. Righteous is not at war. First and foremost, the Father wants me to let you know that righteous cannot be at war. Righteous cannot be at war because righteous fight alone because it knows it's going to win on every side. So it don't need to battle. It don't need to prove itself. It don't need to justify and clarify that it is all righteous. So there's no need for it to fight any battle because whatever battle even look toward it, righteous is going to win victory. You see? So, which would make a lot of sense because he went on to telling me about where we are at today is that day, that D-A-Y, not D-A-Y-S, but that D-A-Y. That means there is a mystery. We call it time period, but the Father called it that day. That we are to see things that has been, how would I say it, willed, whether it's His permissive will or His non-permissive. I mean, His permissive or His permissive will or His will. You see, we have to be able to, through only one thing, and I would say this to you all. I think one also thing that I got to keep in mind, and that is that the Ruach of the Creator is the only teacher that exists in this day and this time. He don't exist just on the earth. He exists in the heavens and underneath the earth. He exists on the four corners. He exists in the midst of any and everything. So for Him to be what He is to me, He is a Ruach, which is the Ruach of the Creator. And I will not allow nothing to override Him. So I want so bad to really blame people. I want so bad to say stupid and ignorant, but the more the Father shows me what his will have permitted, permissive, and how his will have set all things in order, that all things may be fulfilled according to his purpose, then that leads me to do what? Back up. Meaning you can give up things because you know who holds all things. And I know that, and I am in full understanding, and that's why I can admit as a prophetess in the wilderness. I don't have no problem saying that I'm in the wilderness. Now, 99 point trillion would say, oh, but the wilderness is this. But until you come to the and be a student, when you become a student of the ruach of the creator, let me tell you something. Everything you learned, everything you studied in all of these books, everything that you learned while you was in this, and this, has to fall to the wayside. Why? Because when the true teacher pull up, it's teaching you from a level that no book, no pastor, no bishop, no prophet, no prophetess, no Maury, no watchman, no seer, no, like I say, pastor, no apostle, nobody can override the ruach of the creator. And this is something I've learned being a student of the ruach of the creator, is that there are those that are taught based on what they can read, what they can precept, what they can line here and a little here, because they think that's the answer. But what this message is going to bring you is light to those who have sat all this time in darkness and thought they had light. It's some people on this devil platform think that they got light in both hands. Sister Deborah would tell you, I have a lamp in my right hand, and I have spirit and truth to continue to teach me, and the lamp is to guide me in the midst of all this darkness on the earth. What we didn't, not we, bring it down, Deborah. What people don't understand is you have to have the light. The light is going to show you the darkness that's in the world. If you think that you're teaching and you're reading, you're studying, your precept, your line, your understanding of your wisdom, of your knowledge, and your understanding is the light, well, keep that light. Keep that light in which you feel that you have the ability to be the light. And this is where one of the biggest problems, I'm going to say problems, I'm going to say iniquity that's on the face of the earth. There's no honor, there's no respect for he that is the ruach of all of creation, that comes to give us the things in which we yearn for and we need. But you got many that is more than few that believe that understanding is what they can see and believe, what they can read and believe. But what Sister Deborah is, I'm going to come to many areas of this biblical book, and I'm going to kind of expound on actually what we're going to go over. And the reason why I do that is because there's something greater in me than he that is in the world. We got so many books in the world, and everybody thinking righteous and truth comes from the books. If this creator would have thought at any time that the books can carry us through, he would have no need, because he didn't end what they call the old. You didn't see him do it in what they call Torah. You didn't see him come and live in them. So what is said about this day and time, and I noticed something about this day and time that's different from time past. I think we have him living in us a little more than them that was of time past had him upon them. Okay? Same level of power, but yet because he comes to claim what he had sent from the heavens, he wanted to make sure that he claimed them in the spirit by walking with them. And the beauty of it is that he's willing to yet teach us each and every day as we walk with him so great in us. That's beautiful. So when I'm in here, I can't just go into King James Bible. I just can't go into it like people do. I don't, that's why I told you, even becoming, and not becoming, but to call myself teaching, it's hard for me because I don't know how to come out of one verse. I don't even know how to come out of one verse. You see, because I see so much within to where I can't come out. Well, what do you mean, Deborah? When I'm reading the Bible, I read the book in the form of reading it to study it. But when I get in it, there's this one that lives so great in me. He's continuing revealing things to me in one verse, each verse. And I'm like saying, I can't come out. I can't seem to come because it's never meant for us to take this book and think that this is it. It's when he come and teach us. And this is the spirit of the creator. He's coming to teach us all things. What is there to teach us if we got all the books? Because the books is for the flesh of man. It's just like when he says, those who say that they have tongues. It's for those who believe it not. Not for he that believeth, but for he that believeth not. Some people need what they need just to kind of understand what they understand. And these are also people who are still tarrying and waiting for that excellent, wonderful, perfect, great, powerful teacher, which is the Ruach of the Creator, to enter into them, to be all that it was said that he would be. A lot of us don't have all of them. They don't have all, they're not full of him. They don't have all of him. Why? Because they never sat still long enough to wait until that rushing roaring wind enter in. Because once it come in, you know that it's time for you to flesh to bow down. Do flesh sin? Yes. But it knows that it has something inside of them that's great. It has something inside of he or she that's greater than the flesh itself. And that's where you give the glory to. That's where you give the the glory, the honor. You give all of that unto he that is greater in you. But when we sit and teach and moan and groan based on what we see and believe, then we are out of what one say that they have, and that is he that is the greatest teacher, the greatest revealer that rests within, not without. So we understanding any book, not just the King James Bible, just not the all these other lost and found books. Let me tell you something. When he said he would teach you all things, he means that. And this is why Sister Deborah have put up gutters around the house, replaced windows in a house, in houses, replaces toilets. It's nothing that I can't go and do with these hands, these natural hands. Why? Because he said, I will teach you, Deborah, all things. And just because I already have within me that great trust in he that can teach me all things, that which he don't want to teach me, he don't have to. You see? But I love the ideal of trusting in the spirit, the ruach of the creator to teach me all things. So I never would have all these years as a young girl wondering, well, how did you learn how to braid and back then we called it French braid and corn rolls. And I mean, I can cut hair, men hair, I can cut beard, I can do it all. It wasn't because I went to school for what I've learned. It's because the Father taught me from my spirit, Him abiding in me, how to do these great things. 99 point trillion wouldn't give him that glory, wouldn't give him that honor. Why? Because he's not greater in them. But he's so great in me, I refuse to even think that I have gained wisdom and knowledge and the ability to do all that I can do because that's just who I am. No, I am not. It's he that's greater in me that promised that he would teach me all things, and that is exactly what he has done for me throughout my life. That's what he has done for me. Well, I went to school and learned how to do all kind of secretarial, shorthand, all of that within a blink of an eye. Didn't take me no time, you guys. I would go places just to see if I had it better than others. And guess what? I know I shouldn't, but I was young. I nailed that thing. I nailed that thing. So I would call her like a godmother. I would call her like a godmother. I have to say that because when I say a godmother, something God gave me, a second mother that God has given me. Okay, you have to understand a mother is also only that in the flesh. You are not the mother when it come down to you in the spirit. Okay, you are just that. Okay, you just a spirit. Okay, so all these names on the outer man, y'all get too wrapped up in this trash. You get too wrapped up in it, and that's where you know that you are born of the flesh because you desire to pleasure understanding in the flesh, and that's why they won't step out of all these books because that's their own. That's their only energy that they can have. That's all they have is what's in these books because they can train you, they can teach you, they can control you, they can manipulate you, they can deceive you from what? The books. But when that Ruach comes of the Creator, He ain't out to train you out of no other way but the way that He has willed it to be. That's why y'all need it. You need the Ruach of the Creator. Okay, so she my the lady Miss Almond, she used to stay on me, but Deborah, you already know how to do shorthand, and you know how you go to the court and you what's that dictaphone? Was that the dictaphone? I think it was where you I can they talk, okay, and I wasn't very good at it, but I passed. I passed, and she was like, they called me Booby. She said, "But Booby, you can go in the court system. You can do." That's not. You know what? I'm gonna tell you where I what I feel. Then again, I'm gonna go and see it. I think that was one of my errors. Is after I saw that everything I put my hand to, I put my hand to things that I really didn't want to do, but just was doing it to see if I can master it. Sister Deborah don't do nothing if she cannot master something. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, see the good, the how, what level of greatness can come out of something I do. Like for instance, let me see. Oh, like for instance, I went over to my children's house. They ain't children, they're adult. And I did the home improvement, like putting doors back on hinge. And matter of fact, I had three of those to do patch up holes and stuff like that. And as I was doing it, I was thinking, just getting having this ability to do this. And I kind of did feel that, Father, thank you so much. You know why? Because I was saying, you ain't got no business knowing how to do this. I knew it wasn't me, y'all, that have received that ability to be able to do stuff like that. And to do it and to get it done. First thing my daughter said, "Well, Mama, what? You finna find us another place? I see you doing all the repairs." You see what I'm saying? No one ever look at the repairs and say, "Well, dang, my mama can do it all." They don't look at it like that. They just look at me being a person that can repair a lot of things, fix a lot of things, do taxes, do all these things. Y'all, let me tell you something. The things that if you all would know or if you knew the things that Sister Deborah is capable of doing, it will blow your mind, because you would say, well, how could a person like you do all that? It's because of that ruach of the Creator. If you really trusted Him, if you really trust Him to be all that He said He would be that and some. Woo-wee, woo-wee. And that's what He has shown me. And that's why I can't get on these platforms and give glory to no books. I can't give glory to this King James Bible nor King James 16. I give glory to He that is within me, and in on the kingdom, it's sitting in the kingdom on the throne as well. I give glory and honor and praise, and I trust in He, because He holds the beginning and the end and everything in between. Why would I trust you to be delivering to me books? Come on now. But then what happens to the teacher that said he's coming to teach you all things? And because I've learned to believe that if you put your hand to it, and I'll be honest, y'all, even when I put my hand to it, guess what? I still make sure I include Him. Because I already know the things I have learned in my life had nothing to do with me as a female coming here to having all this deck of all trades. No, it is greater is He that is in me than any and everything that could be in the world. So this is why Sister Deborah don't lean to all these books. Because when you lean to all these, Solomon says, told his son, much too many books is a wearisome to your flesh. But when it's all these books, it's not bothering your flesh, because you are born of the flesh. But when you are not born of the flesh, then all of these books you wouldn't even be in. Why? Because you be letting the greatest book, which is the Creator Himself of all things, that's your book. And that one, He's not on the outside, He's on the inside. You see? So me, myself, throughout my life, that's who I always trust in. That's who I believe in. Resumes, one thing I was not good at is writing proposals. You know how you write up a proposal to try to get grants and all this government money? Well, I never gripped that one. I wish that I could have. No, I don't wish that I could have, because I don't want to really interfere with the government and state money. Because, like I told the young lady that I went to school with, she's an expert in that field, but it's also the world. It is the world. It's the way that how you can go in and you find out that there's so many loopholes you can get involved in to gain this, and it comes with a lot of lying. Yes, and that's another reason why I probably didn't. I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because if I could write it out, because the way my mind be rolling, I probably would steal all the money from the government and the state. I'm just saying to y'all. So I just thank the Father for not giving me that ability to do that, because you can fall into the worldly, all the world matters, and that's what my a lady that I once knew in elementary, high school, and when she was in college. Now she's a CEO over 7 facilities, but that's what she does. Hmm. But she's a CEO now of the 7 countries, 7 clinic. But she write proposals and grants, proposal for grant money, state and government. And when she write it, let me tell you something. Anybody will tell you they're gonna shower that money down. I remember one time, oh, it had to have been about 30 years. She asked me I would meet her at her office. I went down and talked to her at her business office. And she began to cry. And I said, "What's wrong?" She said, "Deborah, this thing is deep." She said, "It's so much crookedness and evil in it." I said, "That's what you work for, baby." She said, "I don't want to do it like this." I said, "Get out. Get out while you have a chance." Did you know she refused to get out? And right now, in it, right now, last time I talked to her, I think it was like 6 years ago, and she was talking about all this money the government has to give people. individual, and she's trying to pull all this money for her family members so they can get them homes and so on. I said, I don't know. I'm like I was then, Angela. I said, I ain't finna get involved in all that. See, but what you think? No, Angela. I'm not involved. And that's one reason why she likes to speak to me. And I'm going to tell y'all something sad. If the world knows who you are, and anybody that don't know who you are, it's because they are the serpent seed. And the world is the serpent seed, but the serpent seed even know who represent the Most High God. A lot of people say, well, Deborah, I don't want you to tell me because you're going to tell me not to, or you're going to tell me the other side. Yes, that's just who I am, y'all. And it's a good thing because we should have somebody that's willing to tell us the truth. But no one wants the truth. They want the lie so that they can build up on the lie because the lie bring them a check from YouTube. You see, a lie help them feed their families. Even if the lie is before them in truth. Woo-wee, Deborah, you're going to get yourself in trouble if you don't watch your mouth. If the lie revealed itself to be a lie and the truth is before, they won't turn to the truth, y'all, for nothing in the world. Nope, the lie is too good for them. They want to stand and stay and continue it. And what makes it okay, like he said, Deborah, this need be. What do the Most High Yah say? What do he mean when he said, and this need be, Deborah? He's saying, Deborah, leave it be. This the way it is, this the way it was, and this is the way it shall be continually. So he said, this need be, this need to be this way because heavens has got to roll in and out to go according to the way it needs to be. So I like that. It's a form of comforting. It's comforting me that it's okay. This need be, heaven got it locked in and out, and you know about that, so you're okay. So let it be. That's what he said. So I want to just start with this, and I'm gonna also run chapter, Colossians chapter 2. I want you to hear something, and I'm going to expound on it, but I need to get to this topic so we can move on. Okay, I want to say something to you. Like, let me show you an example, and I learned this years ago. I had an issue, okay? I had an issue when I came up on Pilate, who was one that washed his hands from the blood that he don't mean from that he felt the blood that was going to be on his hand once he turned Yeshua over. Okay, and he was washing his hands. I want you all to understand when you read of that, many people would say, oh, those were good people. He was a good man. He was righteous, or he was just and he was upright. No, he wasn't. He was not one of the above. Cause someone say something, you can't just take what Pilate said and assume that he lines up with righteous. He lines up with just. He lines up with upright. Because in spite of what he lined up with, he still turned him over. But this is the difference between you and me. The ruach of the Creator won't let me settle with Pilate being anything near righteous or even close to righteous or at a distance to righteous. Pilate was who Pilate is. And furthermore, you first have to understand and this is what's going on. People are taking all these books, repeating what the flesh of man is saying, okay, and saying that this is of Yah. This is the will of the heaven, the kingdom. First and foremost, when I look at the Bible, I see from Genesis to Revelation many smears. I will not deny and tell people, stay out of the Bible. Don't read it. It's all wrong. No. I think that the Bible is no, I don't think. I know that the Bible is a study guide, just like any and every book that one might say is lost and found. But the study guide, are to study. But when the ruach of the Creator comes, he has to knock all books out of the ballpark. What do you mean? He has to show you that he's greater than what Enoch and all the other books are saying. Ezra and all these other all of them. He has to knock them all. If you do not allow him in you to knock the books out so he can stand in the gap, then you are a blind, you are born of the flesh. And it's okay. You know why it's okay for you to be born of the flesh? It's okay for you to read and believe based on what you read. It's okay for you to see and believe based on what you see. See, these are the things on the outer man that causes them to receive their understanding. It also causes them to receive their knowledge. It also causes them to receive their wisdom. And if you are born of the flesh, this is the way you receive all that you have. But when the ruach of the Creator comes, all of those things got to be hit, bam, out the ballpark. They got to get knocked out the ballpark. And when we can't put the Creator in that place where he knocked everything out of the ballpark, then the reason why we can't put him above it all and look at him as one to knock all of it out the ballpark, you know why? It's because we are truly born of the flesh. And I'm going to break that down as born of the flesh so you can understand being born of the flesh is a will of the Father, just like being born of the Spirit. It is also a will. Both of them is written. So you see, so it's all his will. All of it is a part of his way of doing things. Okay? So when we take books that we should by now in this year 2024, somewhere on the four corners, everybody, whether they are born of the flesh and born of the Spirit, should not put that level of trust in what man has tampered with over an unseen creator that has all power. But the only reason why people can't release those books in a way of saying, okay, I'm going to tarry for the ruach of the Creator, because it was said that he's going to teach me all things. And when he comes to teach you, he's coming from the level of the inside. He's not he's not going to work on your flesh, y'all. He's not going to work to train your flesh. He's going to work from the inside, because the only place he abides is in your spirit. Why? Because you got a spirit and you was given an image like unto him, which is a spirit. So he said, I will come and abide in you and you in me. So it's a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual thing. And this is a place in which 99 times a billion reject and shall and will and have already and in their grave reject, because they don't want to wait on he that created the beginning and the end and everything in between, because he's coming from he's coming from what a man can't touch, see, or interfere with, change, make this way, make that way. Why? He's coming strictly to your spirit, and he's going to sit there and abide with you and teach your spirit all things. And by the time he's teaching your spirit, it's no end. He will continue to teach your spirit all things as long as you live. And you'll be wondering, well, how did I learn this? How did I know it? Because he's still teaching you like he said that he would. And when he said all things, he wasn't just talking about, see, this is where people are messed up at. People thinking he's just talking about all these Bibles and all these lost books. He come to teach. No, he don't need your books. You the one lost. If you said books are lost, the reason why the books are lost because you lost. You see, he don't have to have no Bible. He don't have to have all the books that you want to make truth. He is the truth. He is all righteous. What do he need with books that man then smeared up and smeared down and want to give you their testimony with of him, when if he is greater in you than he that's in the world, what books come to give you him greater than what he is in you? Does that make any sense? It doesn't. It takes you to who is really who. To me, that's where it lands. It takes you, that's why he said to, was that the husband? The husband? Because he went to report that the tare, they planted the wheat, but when they woke up, the tare had grown in the wheat. And then they asked him, well, we can cut them down, tie them up, and burn them up. What did he say? Hold up. Hold up. Don't mess with them. Don't touch them. Let them grow together. This is the reason, y'all, I trust in him. Because he's so 100. He's so 100. He said, no, don't. See, a lot of people don't understand that. You got to take it like the reason why I'm saying it the way I'm saying it is because I'm not looking at the book to tell me what it says, because I can hear behind the book itself. So I got to bring it to you the way I'm feeling it in the spirit. You see what I'm saying? Not the way the book is saying it, but I'm bringing it to you in it. Because see, what Sister Deborah tell you? I can hear behind here. You know what that hear behind here? That means I can hear you in the natural, but I can hear something behind even what you said. That's the spirit, y'all. What you mean, Deborah? You know when he said try the spirit by the spirit? That's why he's saying that. Try that spirit, Deborah. Don't let that flesh throw you off. Try that spirit. And that's what I'm doing when I say I can hear behind. So when you thought I was saying, asking you questions and asking you this and asking you that, I was asking you to learn what spirit I was speaking to. Because if you can't answer it and you can't say anything, see, and when someone don't say anything, it's because there's nothing there. It is void. You see? And a lot of times that's how many people who are not who they think they are and want to portray, this is how you know them, by their fruit. Their fruit should be able to answer spirit and truth. Their fruit should be able to identify the things which are, or some things, not 100. Ain't nobody 100, not even Sister Deborah. But this is what people never knew, you know. So when you ask, Sister Deborah asking you something, I mean, say for instance, you didn't have the full, but you can have a tad bit of what Sister Deborah is asking. That was good enough, you see. But see, what people didn't do, they won't answer the question. You see? So there was no fruit to understand or to support the question in any shape, form, or fashion. So when they told him that the tare has grown in with the wheat, did he want them to tie them, cut them down, tie them up, and burn them up? He said, oh, no, let them grow together. I'm going to do the separation. He's going to separate it. Who is he? The Creator himself. See, it's a lot of things we still, I ain't going to say don't understand, because he said everything is clearly seen. And then he told me about the mystery. Don't forget that you're speaking the mystery and they still not getting it. So don't think that it was ever meant for them to get it, because heaven already knew who gonna get it, who wasn't. So when you get down here, Deborah, don't feel that, hey, they ain't getting it or needing it. No. They're not meant to get it. Many scriptures should tell you the broad gate, they ain't gonna get it. Those seeds that was the sower sowed, they'll never get it. You see, all kind of things. He that born of the flesh will never get it. He that is of the serpent seed will never get it. Because their mission here on the earth is to only get that which is in the flesh. And the way the flesh said that it is, read that it is, understand that it is, and the knowledge of the flesh and the knowledge of their wisdom therein. Because there's two wisdom. There's a wisdom in the flesh and there's a wisdom in the spirit. There's a knowledge in the flesh and there's a knowledge in the spirit. There's an understanding in the flesh and there's understanding in the spirit. But one is greater than the other. How about that? Okay. So when he told them to let them alone, let them grow together, that was a good thing. So I say, until you here we are still yet together. but yet he's also have sent the seal. And the seal is to seal those that are getting up out of here that belong to him, that he's taken out of the spiritual Israel and the spiritual Judah. Okay, so let's just go on. When he tells me about Pilate, years ago I had an issue. Okay, I had an issue with Pilate because I didn't see Pilate like the preachers and the teachers were teaching him, that he was a righteous man because he didn't want to disperse, or he didn't want to release Yeshua to the people. I mean, to them, to which was the people. They, to crucify. They didn't want. He didn't want them to have the mindset of crucifying Yeshua. And he even talked about he washed his hand, the blood off his hand. But I want you to understand, Pilate didn't have this mindset. Pilate was answering to what? A female. Father, y'all, they'll never get it. They'll never get it, but that's okay. You say it need be. Pilate was answering to his wife. And his wife wasn't answering to anything that makes her righteous. She just had dreams. See, it wasn't that she was so righteous. It was dreams that came to her regarding Yeshua. Okay? So when she translated it over to her husband during this time that he were to judge, and he was on the seat at that time, she flipped it over to him. And that's when he took on it. But had not she told him the dreams, would he have done it? No, he would not. What you got to understand was this. What Pilate felt and what he said and how he said a lot of great things about Yeshua. Just because he said a lot of great things about Yeshua, he still was not found under the righteous will of the Father. You see? And this is where a lot of people are today. They look at these people on this devil platform. They hear them teaching and preaching, precepting and lying, and go to here and teaching this book, teaching that book, and teaching this book, and sitting here grinning in your face, trying to look the role of holiness, trying to hold the role of holiness. And guess what? They only fooling those who are already fooled. They ain't fooling nobody that's in spirit and truth. That's why they don't come near those that are spirit and truth with the light in their right hand. It's almost like Revelation 7 when he told him to seal his in his forehead. It's almost like that. It's almost like when, the ones that are born of the Spirit ain't got no business mingling and understanding he that is not born of the Spirit. He that is born of the flesh and he that is born of the Spirit are two different. They got a division between each other. So this is why they can't come on one accord and can't come to a fullness. And if one is, say for one or the other, let's say one person is of the light and the other one is of the darkness, or one person is of the Spirit and the other one is of the darkness. Where the DAY that we're in today, it's not about one coming to the understanding. That's why the Father tell me it's need be, all is well, everything's rolled in, baby. It ain't nothing missing. I got it all wrote down. So just run your lane. Get in your lane that I created, meaning get in it and just speak spirit and truth. That's it. That's all I ask you to do is just speak it. That's it. I even created a place for you to do that, meaning that lane is spirit, in the spirit realm. So here we go. Those that are born of the flesh, they are not going to take heed to nothing in the spirit. Nothing. And you can't expect them to. That's why they study for the level on the outer man versus the inner man. They can't get the inner man to teach them that the outer man is not the greatest. The outer man serves the flesh. The outer man can't deliver you. The outer man can't save you. The outer man can't redeem you. The outer man can't can't do anything for you, but it can do stuff for your flesh. It can make your flesh think you a teacher. It'll make your flesh think you a pastor, a evangelist, a prophet, a prophetess. That's what the outer is there to do. It's to juice you up and juice you down to where when it all said and done, you just juicing people's flesh. and they have no healthy spirit and truth within. And this is what happens to people who can't see spirit and truth. They continue to teach that which is already rooted from the heavens within them, and they call it righteous. The wheat that was growing with the tare, Father said, leave it there. The separation I would do, because he knew in heaven had already separated the wheat from the tare. You see, he already knew it. It's already written. So going back to the reason why you would get people who can break down scriptures and find this and find that, and this say this and this say that, is because they're coming straight out of their flesh. You know, the flesh is what you see in the world today. The scholars, the scientists, the teachers, all these big educated degree, those are the flesh. They're coming from the same books that those that proclaiming that they're have the Ruach HaKodesh. They save. They have the light. They don't understand you are detached to the world and how the world feel that they can define an unseen creator. See, you have to be able to teach that word. Show that word is the greatest power in words. But they can't. They can't give you the word of Yah because they don't have the ruach, the spirit of that creator. So they have to give you the words. And there's nothing wrong with them giving them words, because that's all Yah suffered them to get. It's that which they can see and believe, hear and believe, and their flesh wisdom, their flesh knowledge, and their flesh understanding. And this is what the world is living on. The energy of the flesh ability to run on and call right wrong. And in them, they are so righteous. In them, they are so perfect. They are so upright. They are so full of the Ruach. They are the ones that y'all sun down here and don't even understand. The whole world think that they are. Believe it or not. When I say the whole world, I'm just trying to bring you into the number of how many people really think that they are walking righteous. And they are the righteous one, full of the Holy Spirit. And you can tell that they're not, because their desire to understand stuff is all in books. Heaven and earth shall pass away. That means all these books, when he said heaven and earth shall pass away, he letting you understand that all that exists that you have used in the heavens and in the earth, that means even the Bible and everything it consists of is going to pass away. He said, but how about this? The word can't pass, because the word is in Yah. It is Yah. So if he teaches us the word and we insist on it that it is the words, then that's where we're locked in here. Not just in a mental state of mind, but our spiritual state of mind is gone. Okay? Now, when I see Pilate, I don't see him as anything upright, anything just, or anything righteous. What I see, now let me show you how the difference in when you're taught by people with all their degrees and all they laboring themselves to be this, and been on this devil platform for years, but haven't even come to the knowledge of spirit and truth. Have not come to the knowledge. You got to have that light in that right hand, baby. You got to pull up with that light. You can't be out here teaching and preaching out of all these man-made books that's been smeared by who? Man. And let it overweigh he that is the spirit of the creator. He's a spirit. He ain't coming to justify and clarify and identify all of these books. He come to show you that I am beyond all of that. But we can't see him like that. Only way we are willing, bring it down, Deborah. Only way people are willing to see him if they're able to see him like they want to see him in their flesh. I don't want to see him in my flesh because I can feel him in my spirit. So that's good enough there. I listen to him as my teacher. And he have taught me too many years for me to turn around and listen to loudmouth women and men on this devil platform and been on here for a mighty long time. One thing I can definitely say is this. I would never want to be the head of a multitude of people on one of these devil platforms. because a lot of people don't know that's going to be a form of your judgment. If you getting glory, you getting honor, you getting likes, you getting praises to the point where people are not seeing the ruach of the Creator, but seeing you, then you are the seed of the serpent. You are born of the flesh. See, people thought that they supposed to be like T.D. Jakes, everybody getting money to teach and preach, and a lot of things they said is not under the spirit of the Creator. That's just like these people on the devil platform. They can't even see the difference. They can't see the difference. But when I start to see that they can't see spirit and truth, they don't have the light in their right hand. I'm like, wait a minute. Do you understand you've been on here all these years and you don't see spirit and truth? Ooh, and won't own it? Oh, man. We're going to get on that too. So when I see Pilate, you all see Pilate one way. I can't see Pilate the way that many pastors and teachers and people speak on him doing and saying what he was saying. It does not make him fall under the righteous of nothing. He's still washing his hands, the blood off of his hands, and saying that he didn't see no wrong in him. And we didn't need nobody needed Pilate to tell us that there was no wrong in him. I didn't need him to tell me nothing. He didn't have, it wasn't nothing he said. Now, see, this is the example. Oh, Father, y'all, you finna take me there, ain't you, Father? You finna take me there all the way, Father. Yeah, you finna take me all the way. Oh, my, yeah, you finna take me there. I did not need Pilate to tell me that this man has done no wrong. I don't need Pilate to tell me that. I don't need to go precept into looking at every verses that when they took him in, how Luke and Mark and John and Matthew said in their words, and how they denied, how Pilate and his wife didn't see any fault in Yeshua. I didn't need them to tell me that. You see what I'm saying? But see, this is why they messed up from the floor up. That's the same way they look at Enoch and all these books. These books, they think because what these books is saying is telling them something. I didn't need Pilate to tell me. Why? Because already in me is he that is greater than the world. So I don't need the world to tell me who Yeshua is. Because he that's greater already told me. So what I'm saying, wait, just hold up what I'm saying. So when Pilate come up and say that, I'm going to tell you how silly I was. I'm a teenager, not you, okay? I'm saying like 19, 20. I'm like, wait a minute. I got a question. I got an issue. And when I have a question and issue, I go all the way in. I said, Father, he and his wife was telling him based on the dreams that she had. He was washing his hand, the blood off his hand, based on the dream that his wife had. It did not make them righteous. It did not make them just. It did not make them anything, because you see, it still did not make them stand their ground. Why? What Pilate was doing and how you see them using his wife to be the one who tell him the dream she was having, that this man is a just man. I don't need them to tell. I don't need his wife to tell me he was just. I already know he just. I don't need Pilate to tell me he just. I didn't need to read this book to find that out. Because greater is he that's in me, that's my true teacher, already instilled that in me. So this is the point. Deborah got to be a teenager and she got to asking questions about that topic. I wanted to find out, why was he trying to hinder that which is orchestrated in that hour? So why everybody on this end looking for him to be doing something righteous and saying, no, they didn't do anything righteous. Understand? They didn't do anything. Pilate and his wife never done anything righteous. They were saying things righteous. Let's look at Enoch. Enoch might have been saying things that we think is righteous. But just because he's saying these things righteous, do we put him as a God over the Creator? No, you don't. You bring, that's why I say when the Ruach comes of the creator, the spirit of the creator, he come knock all that mess to the out the ballpark. Why? He got to have the whole field. If you ain't gonna give my father the whole ballpark, stand your tails down and get out the field. Matter of fact, get out the park yourself. Because my Yah, if he ain't the only one in there and rule that whole park, stand your tails down off of him. This is who he is. Now watch this here. Now I'm sitting here, I think I was like 19 or 20. I'm like, okay, I got some issues. I got some questions. Why is he interfering? Bam! There you go. Pilate then was interfering with the mission itself. Was it good or bad? It was evil. Because the whole idea of them saying, oh, I see no fault in them, you the judge. You the one can call it shot. Oh, I wash my hands, but because I don't see, anything wrong. I'm washing the blood off my hand. You washing what your wife told you she had in the dream. Let's put this here, washing your hands and you seeing no fault in him. Bring that bad boy up to some action. Why didn't Pilate put that to action? Why? Why? If it was that spiritual for you not to, but yet you what? You did exactly what the people wanted. Why? Because washing your hands from the blood, hearing what your wife said that who he is, and that you said that he have no fault, you find no fault in him, didn't mean a rat's behind what you didn't find. Washing your hands didn't mean a rat's behind. It still didn't gain you the power to hold up to what you knew what was righteous. So therefore, there was not enough righteous in Pilate. Why? Because it wanted you to know that you couldn't look at them as righteous. You look at them hindering, which is unrighteous, that hour. That's the difference between you and me. That's the teaching of the Ruach that taught me. He's only, because I said, wait a minute, what is he saying all this here? What is he talking about? What is his wife talking about? What are they talking about? His hour is at hand. He got to get him out of here. That's what I was saying to the father. He said, Deborah, you nailed it. So it appeared as if he's on his side. But how can you be on something's side when you turn the judgment fully over to the way that the people wanted it? You see? You see what I'm saying? That's like all these books that's out here. They saying a lot of things. But when that Ruach of the Creator comes and he lives in you, he'll knock all their tails out the ballpark and say, how you like me now? Why? Because he wants you to know you speaking words. I am the word. I am the word. So how could your words override me being the word? He said, heaven and earth shall pass away. Enoch, the Bible, all of them going to pass away. But the word that comes to live in us and teach us, it's going to remain. So all of these people running around here with their hoarse mouths, loud, always, ever, what he said, ever learning, never coming to the knowledge. Because the knowledge rests in the prophets holding the mystery. And if you don't grip the mystery from the servants of the Most High God, you just out there on the ledge, running your mouth. And this is where you know a lot of people hold on to the world. They about 80-90% of the world, and then they swing in the Bible, want to try to prove a point. You can tell that they of the world because they can't get off that fence. And they riding it over here in the world more than they riding even in the 10% over here on out of the Bible. They don't even know which way. And everybody, a lot of people have called themselves to their own little holy calling. That's why they want you to be trained to look a certain way and train you to see them as somebody's head. You ain't representing, you can't be the head that if the Father didn't put you in the body as the head of a people. First and foremost, we got to recognize the true head, which is Hamashiach, Christ. And when you can't recognize the true head if you don't know who the true head is. 99 point infinity don't know who the true head is. But the way the Father created it, they weren't supposed to. For it is written. Okay, so let me see if I can get into this because I went already over an hour. So I want to get into the ideal of Pilate. So what he was telling me when I was a young girl. So right then he taught me that no, it wasn't that he was doing anything righteous. He was finna go up. He was trying to, what he was doing and anything he was saying is just trying to lean toward the hour that was prophesied that shall come. He shouldn't have been saying anything when his choice still was to, he didn't have the power to change the prophecy. So his mouth and what he washed his hand from the blood and his wife's dreams didn't mean nothing. Okay, but to those who teach and preach these things, who think they are called by the ruach of the creator, this is where they messed up from the floor up. When you know that when you teaching this book, you best bet if you ain't teaching it with the whole power to read behind what this book is saying, you better stand your clown tails down. And that's real. You better stand down because all you doing is teaching people from your flesh because the Ruach comes to stand on top of any book, in every book. But when you can't allow the Ruach to override what you read and understand, what you see and understand, and based on what you see and read, this is your belief, baby, you are born of the flesh. And there's nothing wrong with that. This need be. So I wanted to get that off. But I want to go to James. And I want to read what it's saying in the book of James, chapter 4, and verse 4. In the book of James, chapter 4, verse 4, it says, Ye adulterers and adulteress, know ye not that friendship of the world is enmity with Yah? Genesis chapter 3, verse 15. The reason why he wanted to put that right there at Genesis chapter 3 and verse 15, because he wants you to know that I am the creator. Satan, I'm going to let those come down in your seed, and those are going to come down in the woman's seed is going to represent me. And he's not talking about like a female entity. He's talking about the spiritual seed, like until he that is born of the flesh and he that is born of the spirit. Okay? So one is spirit and one is Satan's seed. Okay? So he said that in Genesis 3 and 15. The reason why he said it there is because he wanted Satan to understand you didn't gain Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve was given to you. They were your seed. That's why they didn't hesitate to go to no other direction but the direction side representing Satan. See, a lot of y'all didn't know that. Let me give you a little clip of what I be trying to explain to you all. People who are teaching you from their flesh, they speaking a lot of trash from their flesh. But let me bring you in a little bit to the spirit. Go to Genesis chapter 2, 3. Let's go. In Genesis chapter 3 and verse 10. And I'm going to give you a little something, okay? In Genesis chapter 3 and verse 10 and 11. In Genesis chapter 3 and verse 10 and 11. And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself. Verse 11. And he said, who told you thee that thou was naked? Hast thou eaten the tree, and whereof I commanded thee not? Thou shalt not eat. Now, notice man only recognize the flesh. Genesis 3, verse 10 and 11. Nakedness and the flesh. Then when you bump back to Genesis 2, the Father is telling me now, go back to Genesis 2, Deborah. Watch this here. In Genesis 2 and verse 25, in Genesis 2 and verse 25, the Father wants you to see his nakedness versus Adam's nakedness. Genesis chapter 2 and verse 23. We will have to go to first verse 24 first. Genesis chapter 2 and verse 24 and 25. Therefore shall a man leave his wife and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall become one flesh. Not one spirit, y'all, but one flesh. What do that mean, woman? You got your own spirit that y'all abide in. That's why you can't be under subjection to a man. He got his own spirit, you got yours. Only thing you can come into one in with him is in the flesh. But if your spirit has not seek ye the kingdom first, and his spirit hath not seek ye the kingdom first, y'all are not equally yoked until both seek ye the kingdom first in the spirit. But they are one in the flesh. Notice the Father made sure you understood it here in Genesis chapter 2 and verse 24. Therefore shall a man leave his mother, his father, and his mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they shall be one only in the flesh. Okay? Why is that important that you understand one only in the flesh? Because they're going to bring forth in their flesh, going to bring forth more fleshly children. Okay? Now, when they bring forth these children in the flesh, if they had, let's say, 8 children, okay? Out of the 8 children, you might get 7 children that's born of the flesh is the seed of Satan, and 2 is the seed of the woman, which is spiritual. What he's trying to say to you all is that when you are born and you're cleaving to him, Adam and Eve, they only cleave to each other in the flesh. Okay? Now watch this here. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. They were not ashamed. He was informing you of that to show you that the shame of being naked was not present or recognized. Okay? So it's not that he intend or desire for men and women to look at the nakedness or the bodies to be something that it is not. It was not the creation. It was not a part of his righteous will. So what happened? When you get to Genesis chapter 3 and 10, and you hear Adam, the father, calling him, and this is what he said. And he said, this is Adam, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself. Now watch this in verse 11. And he said, who told thee that thou was naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou should not eat? Bam. You notice in Genesis 3, verse 10 and 11, the only thing Adam was able to identify was the flesh. So he and Eve was born of the flesh. And this is why the Father poured on in that same chapter and told Satan, it ain't like you won. It is not like you won Adam and Eve from me. I the one put both trees, but now it's time to rumble. Bring it forth. From now on, you're gonna hammer. Let your seeds come down in a human in fleshly bodies, y'all. In fleshly bodies. What would y'all be like as a creator of all things, having all these demons and devils and all this mess and giants, all this stuff in the air, up in places where you can't see it, but they all up there doing all these people doing stuff that heavens don't even have no idea. Why you say that, Deborah? Because it's not what Yah said. See, they getting a lot of stuff for what somebody else's mouth said, but they ain't getting what the word is saying. And how you know when the word speak it and it is truth, it's when you read it, you can hear it in you coming out of you that this is the word spoken. Okay? So that's why he wanted Satan to understand that there's going to be 2 seeds. One is going to be for this, for you, and I mean your seed and her seed, which is his seed, okay, which is spiritual, and one is Satan's seed. They were coming down here, not as fallen angels, y'all, but in the human flesh. You see, that's why in Genesis chapter 6 and verse 1, men began to multiply. Those were men. That was the serpent seed. Not only were the men the serpent seed, the daughters were also. It's a powerful thing how spirit can, and truth can knock out every word that these people say. And this is why when I pull up and I say, well, wait a minute, why is the gate so narrow, Father? He said, very few, Deborah. Not all of them. See, you would think everybody had found the narrow gate and the way. No, no, no. It's like unto the sower that sowed the seeds. The one that he sowed on the thorns and on the rocky place and on the ground where the sun, all of those seeds, but only one he sowed in soil. That's to show you that the serpent seed is going to override the spiritual seed. What else shows you that? The gate that leads to destruction and broad is broad, and many shall go. And the narrow gate, oh, Deborah, very few is going to find it. So you have to take this thing out of the flesh and learn of it in the spirit of where he resides. And that's what people will not do and have not done and are content as long as they get subscribers and a little light, a little check from off the devil platform. They don't care. You give somebody a Negro a check, or you give even these heathen a check. They don't give a rest behind about a creator that's all powerful and all wonderful and all great and all excellent. They just want what they want from what they say, and they see they feeding the mass, which is the broad gate. So when we see that, let's go back to James. Let me go back and bring myself back into it. So when you go into James chapter 4 and verse 4, it says, ye adulterers and adulteress, know ye not that the friendship of the world, you see that friendship of the world. This is why you got so many people liking and subscribing to people who talking about the world. See, these people thinking that they famous. Oh, these people love me. They care for me. They give me. They support me. They praise me. They like my teaching. They like it and they're striving. They're supposed to. Listen to what it says. Know ye not that the friendship of the world is intimacy with Yah. That's why they're your friend. Let me finish. However, he said, no, let me hear. Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is an enemy, of the world is an enemy. Now watch this, not of Deborah, enemy, not of Deborah, but of Yah. See, that's what people can't understand about this devil platform. It's not a place where you working a job and you're laboring. Y'all know you ain't laboring. Only thing you're laboring for is to be able to speak the world 90% and then throw in 10% from the King James Bible and any other lost Bibles and found. That's what you labor for. And to get, you labor to get that praise. To get that like and that subscribe. I'm famous. They got the same mindset as Puff Daddy, believe it or not. Because when y'all look down low, as he's high and low and on every side, he see you for who you are, not what the world think you are. So he ain't gonna sit and say, he doing this and you doing this. Yours is different. No, he ain't. He already see what seed you are. He already see that if you are born of the flesh, if you're born of the spirit. It don't matter what you're doing in the flesh. If you're doing something in the flesh, it don't matter. If Puff Daddy doing something or TD Jakes doing something in the flesh, it don't matter. If you are the flesh, you are the flesh. Y'all all in it together. So it was not, if you look at the trap, if you really look at Genesis, And you see the trap of how they tell you throughout scriptures. Oh, Adam didn't deceive, wasn't deceived, Eve was. You deceived. You're the liar. For the simple reason the Roman Catholic put that in there just so they can at all time have 100 times 100% power over female. Why? Because y'all put female and male as those that are them to do everything evenly. When he created it in Genesis 1, it wasn't no man the head, man the leader, man the ruler. See, they didn't know that. That's why you can separate the words from the word. Because the word of Yah, which is the creator's ruach, when he come to teach you, he'll knock all that trash out the ballpark and he'll line you up right in these books. You see? But they don't want that because they done lied to so many of you all. They want to continue to lie because they're loving the check. And I love it how the Father is going to allow them to reap what they sown because they didn't sow any spirit and truth in you all. They didn't sow any light. Say, for instance, that the gate is narrow. Look how narrow it is. Look how Sister Deborah preached that thing and teach that thing. I know that the gate is narrow. And I know that very few are going to find it. But guess what? He also reminds me, get in your lane. I mean, stay in spirit and truth. Don't go on no other side, Deborah. No matter what nobody's saying, nobody thinking, I'm teaching you enough to know that they are not of the spiritual seed. They are not born of the spirit. They are born of the flesh. That's why they make sure they stay in their lane of the flesh. Because they know if they just park a little bit out of it, then you ain't going to like them. You ain't going to subscribe to them. And they ain't going to get the praise and the financial support. So they make sure they stay in the lane where they yearn for the things and the gift and the praise and the support of a check in their flesh. Is that check doing anything in your spirit? No. It's teaching you how to keep lying about the same thing you've been lying about since you've been on here. That's what that check does to you. And it ain't even enough to sell my Most High out. No. But the Father said, Deborah, what did I tell you? This need be. They were sold out before the foundation of the world. It is written. So what happens? So here he's telling you in James chapter 4 and verse 4, in James chapter 4 and verse 4, explaining to you all, there are those that is of the world. They are enmity toward those that are of Yah. And this is why there's no unity. You wonder why. Well, why we can't get together? And a lot of them, they're cry out, repent. Wait a minute. First and foremost, how can you teach somebody about repenting and you don't know what repent is? How can you teach somebody about Hamashiach? How can you teach somebody about Yeshua? You can't, because you never set yourself still and waited like they did the day of Pentecost. They waited till that Ruach came. But people in this world today, they never waited. And guess what? He wasn't waiting for them. Okay, so I like James 4 and 4 because it's bringing that intimacy to show you when you are of the world, you're supposed to talk, think, feel of the world. Every book in the word you're supposed to bring up to counteract the word. See, that's what they don't understand. You're not going up against Sister Deborah. You're going up against the word. Why? Because when the Ruach come in you, he lets you know, I am the word. And I come to teach you what these words are deceiving many. And when you have that which is in you like that, he teaches you how to separate the two, distance from one another, because the word is the creator of all things. We cannot bring him to the level of books, but that's how sick those that are of the serpent seed has embraced and have lived and still routing y'all the same messages over and over and over and over. No deliverance, no spiritual and truth. He said, the time shall come and the time is now. Why was he saying the time shall come, Yeshua, and the time is now? Because he is And he was given spirit and truth. So he said, then, and it shall come. Why? Because when the roar comes up and pull up, he's going to teach you spirit and truth. That's what he said. They don't want that. They proclaim that. See, the reason why, because they can't dissect that. They can't precept that. They can't precept that. They can't line that. They can't little that and little that. Why? Because it is the word in spirit form that lives in us. He's in our spirit. And he teaches from the inside out, not the books on the outside in the flesh, teaching you who he is on the inside. It is impossible for these books to teach you of he that lives in the inner. No, the inner teach you the lies that is in the outer. And that's what they don't want to let loose, the lies. Because they think the words of the men is greater than the word of he that is greater. Big difference, y'all. Any steps that you, if you have a pen needle or light and you're wondering, wait a minute, think about what Sister Deborah's saying now. All these lost books and found books, and we got a lot of those Hebrew Israelites who started 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. They are all ran away. And now they in all kind of books that white men have wrote all over the world, especially Catholic. They don't understand them books that y'all writing. Look at who's the illustrator and where the books coming from. The same Roman Catholics that went into any type of information that was left for us and smeared it and made their books and put it before us. That's why we need the Ruach of the Creator living in us. He ain't come to live on the outside of us. That means he ain't come to get us to understand all this trash on the outside. He wants to live in us and teach us from the pure to the outside to the trash. But no, we don't want that. Because the only way I can, let me tell you why I say that. I don't know if you all know this. Sister Deborah can probably deceive a good 10 million people if I had to teach out of these books. I can probably deceive you good. Why? Because it's about taking these words and taking dead words and bringing them to life in the flesh of man. You see what I'm saying? That's the whole ideal of why you got thousands of denominations, thousands and millions of beliefs. Let's say, for instance, if Sister Deborah had a church and she got 1,000 members. Do you know out of those 1,000 members, we can go into, let's say, the Gospel of John, chapter 10. And I tell all 1,000 people, let's go into the Gospel of John, chapter 10. And everybody read it. And then I said, if you believe, what do you believe it said? We'll have, let's say 1,000. Say we have 100 people with 100 different different beliefs, even though it's 1,000 of us. So I split the different beliefs up in 100. Do you all know 100 out of 1,000 will be going to 100 different beliefs of what the Gospel of John verse 10 believe in? That's how bad it is. That's how they don't understand. He didn't create things for you to love the creature better than the creator. He never wanted us to lean toward the books and not toward he that is greater in us. But it need be. Let's go. First John chapter 2, verse 15 and 18. First John chapter 2, verse 15 through 18. First John chapter 2, verse 15 through 18. Oh, something else he wants me to say. Okay. You know how it says, born again? He that is born again. I want you to understand what that means. We are all, okay, do you see in Genesis 1 where, I think in verse 2, where it talks about the sons of Yah? The sons of Yah was born as representing the spiritual seed. You see? They had represent the spiritual seed, and this is what he said: my spirit will not always, I will not always strive with them. Strive is mean turmoil with them, try to get them to maintain the spiritual seed in which they were created with. And this is what's the purpose of the Ruach, to come uphold us better than they did back in Genesis chapter 6. Because when the sons of Yah saw, guess who the you let me tell you something, y'all. And I'm gonna show you a mystery. I'm not saying I'm showing you a mystery. I'm busting that mystery up wide open. Genesis chapter 6, verse 1. Let me get there. Genesis chapter 6, verse 1. This is what the Roman Catholic, and I can't too much. The father says that even though the Roman Catholic smeared it all, everybody's going to stand before the throne, not because someone smeared anything. It's because heaven had not had them written where he wanted them to be, no way. So we can't say the heathens and the Gentiles, they did. He said, no. Heaven already got everything wrote up and wrote out. What are you talking about? See, that's why people don't understand who this creator really is. That's why I say you can't tell nobody how to repent. You can't tell nobody who Yeshua is. You can't tell nobody who Hamashiach is. You can't tell nobody nothing because you're living out the flesh understanding. Now watch this here. He says, show them Genesis chapter 6. He say, now there's two entities here. In Genesis chapter 6, it says, verse 1, and it came to pass when men, men, began to multiply on the face of the earth. He wanted you to let you know they are now in great numbers. Who are that? Who is that in great numbers? Who is that in great numbers? And why Yah is it important that the multiply on the face of the earth was important for us to know that men were multiplying? What he said, the serpent seed was multiplying. The serpent seed, Genesis 3 and 15, your seed and my seed. What y'all did not understand, this was the men that was having the daughters that were the serpent seed. You see how, and I don't even want to blame Satan no more, but you see how he escaped having those seeds, and all these people come and talk about they have the spirit of the Ruach and can't even discern that. Can't even see it in spirit and truth. Oh my God. This is why he said the gate is narrow, people. And very few shall find what? The mystery of the kingdom. So that they can might rest in life. They won't find it because they've been living a lie thousands of years. Now listen to what he says. He said, now take them there. Here we go. Genesis chapter 6 and verse 1. And it came to pass when the men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them. The reason why you don't see mother in there or anything of that nature, or the wives are in there, is because he's trying to get you to understand all the seeds were given unto the men. And the women were just the barriers to bring them, the birthing. And the way the world teaches you, it makes you put all the things on women. He said that's one of the biggest mystery lies that has ever been told. Even in Genesis, saying Eve was the one that was tempted and not Adam. How couldn't that? Why was not Adam tempted when both of them were standing there? If you want to put it in the right contents. Now you got to understand they wasn't eating real fruit. So they both standing there in the mental state of mind. Perfect. See, y'all didn't get that, did you? See, they wasn't standing in the midst of this garden. The knowledge of good and evil. But both of them were standing before it. We know that it wasn't like they were standing, but they were together in this. But the way the Roman Catholics set it up is to always put things to start with the thought of a woman. When you are not born of the Spirit, you will believe that trash. But when you're born of the Spirit, the Father hands you a light in your right hand so you can see in between all this darkness. Now let's see if you can see Genesis chapter 6. You won't be able to see it. Why? Because you're not born of the Spirit. You're born of the flesh. You're not born of the spiritual seed of Yah. You are born of Satan's seed because you can't see the light that sits and teaches you how to see the darkness. Genesis chapter 6. First and foremost, I want to say something else he's saying to me. He said, first of all, Deborah, they never recognized this was a powerful chapter that everybody who think they know something should have been able to bust something about this, the mystery. He said they should have been able to bust it out because the way it starts off and they understand on the four corners, they understand that one time the world did cease. But they miss, just like in Genesis chapter 1. I'm not chapter, Genesis chapter 3 with Adam and Eve. Was that 3? I think it was. Genesis chapter 3. I think it was. Yeah, in Genesis chapter 3, they missed it. They missed him telling y'all that he was letting Satan know that I'm gonna let those come down in your seed and I'm gonna let those come down in mine. Y'all didn't even understand that. He was sending flesh down. Flesh was coming in the womb of a man to be dispersed in a woman, and she is to bear him and bring him forth. That's why he said, I will visit the iniquity of the fathers, because he knew that he trusted the seeds in the womb of the fathers, not in the woman. See how they messed that up for y'all? I know they lied and y'all lied with them, and you're still gonna lie with them because you need them subscribers and likes. You ain't see another thing the Father told me. The reason why he said this need be is they not gonna turn unright into righteous. This not that day. It's not gonna ever be a day that's gonna come after this, after what we are at now. That's gonna be where because this is the day of evil and judgment and tribulation and wrath of Yah. He said that's it. You ain't gonna get nothing coming in turning righteous, turning unrighteous into righteous. That's why people are not gonna find their way home in this day and time. It's over. And you're gonna find out that the tribe of Judah, I'm gonna say this, the tribe of Judah is gonna experience things that it has never experienced. It's gonna see the truth of the matter, and it's no way they're gonna turn outside of the wicked way. Because that's how they're doing now. You just don't see it. Because you got such a denial in your spirit. Because we want to deny things based on race, black and white. We want to deny things based on Jew and Gentiles. We want to deny things based on where I'm from and where you from. My language and your language. I'm the son of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and you the European, and you the... But when it all said and done, heaven got everybody locked in and locked out. And guess what? It ain't got nothing to do with color. It ain't got nothing to do with nationality. It ain't got nothing to do with none of that. He took his out of all people. That's y'all down here clowning, trying to make it about y'all. How dare you tell heavens who's who and what's what? You don't have the right to even be down here teaching people this hate. Black and white and Gentile, and they doing what they do best. But don't think heaven don't know about it. He already done judged it up and down. Why? Because I already know. He said it's finished, Deborah. The kingdom of heaven got everything wrote in the Lamb book, and those that's wrote in the books. It's over. Y'all just clowning. So here in Genesis chapter 6, this is the lie that has been told, and the Father don't have no problem with it. He don't have no problem with it. And this is why you can't find all these fallen angels and all these giants. When the Son of Man came on the scene, he ain't mentioned not one fallen angel, and he ain't mentioned not one giant. So who are we supposed to be mimicking anyway? Well, we supposed to be mimicking Enoch. We supposed to be mimicking Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and David. Or are we supposed to be mimicking the Son of Man? Well, man, who will come to give us an example? Enoch, all these other books. Or what are we supposed? Moses, come on, show us how to do it. Or were we supposed to be mimicking he that came down as an example of how we can walk upright before the Father? Oh, we missed him. You ain't got one person on this devil platform teaching the perfect, the great, the excellent walk of the Son of Man. They won't do it. They won't do it because they think they are. They rather say, I'm Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Baby, you flesh when you say that. Who are you in the spirit? Even Abraham, when he was in the vision, was scared. So who are you? Who are you? See, there's two parts to Abraham. They're his flesh and they're his spirit. 99.3 walk after the flesh of everybody in this book outside of Yeshua. They don't walk no way of Yeshua at all. They don't even find their way. Isn't that sad, y'all? Y'all don't think of that? Yeshua came down to be an example. What man walking Yeshua's way? What woman walking Yeshua's way? You see? Okay, so this is why they messed up from the floor. You go into Genesis chapter 6 and you see here, they missed it. Because they didn't know when it says when it says men and daughters. Those were the serpent seed, y'all. You missed it. Drop down to verse 5. And y'all saw that the wickedness of men were great in the earth, that every imagination in his heart was evil and wicked. That answered verse 1. Now you drop down to verse 2. He's now getting ready to tell you those that I sent down to do my will. They got caught up in what the men and daughters were doing. And it really wasn't so much as the daughters. Y'all wasn't in the world because of, we lied. And we still lying on him. Because if it's like he said it, if it's like we said it, he in the world, what just reason is that for you to lie on the real reason why he in the world? What? Let's go over here to Yeshua. Yeshua, can you tell us pretty much how it was in the days of Noah? And everything he told us what had to do with what? Genesis 6 and verse 1. Yeshua didn't back it up into Genesis 6 verse 2. He never said anything about the sons of Yah. Because Yeshua, when he came to tell us and warn us about the days of Noah and the days of Lot, it had nothing to do with any giants nor any spirit. It had to do with men. Because 99.3 and don't understand what took place before the foundation of the world, and that was when he had the Lamb Book of Life on this side and the books on this side, and he turned around and closed them and sealed them. It was finished. See, you thought it was finished in Genesis. You see what I'm saying? You thought it was finished in Genesis. No, it was finished in the heavens. So what happened? What happened? It was finished. And he even told you, you are the body, you are the temple of Yah. And if you bring this type of disgrace and embarrassment to the temple, he would destroy your temple so that your spirit can still be saved. Because when you come down here born of the spirit, he will get your tail out of here in the midst of your wrongdoing. Just so that he can steal, because he got you locked in the Lamb Book of Life. He ain't opened up the Lamb Book of Life and say, okay, now I'm going to erase you off. That's man talking to y'all. See, what y'all didn't understand, heaven had everything locked in and locked out before Genesis chapter 6. He erased this mess because the sons of Yah who came down saw what the seed of Satan was doing with his daughters, and they decided to get in on it. Bam! That's it. Father said, that's it. I'm not going to strive. Strive means turmoil with them, because when they were the sons of Yah, he turmoiled with us, keep showing us through the spirit the ways to do what he called us to do. Even me. He turmoiled with me today. I know that I'm full of his ruach, and I still do wrong. And here he said, he said, my spirit shall not always strive with man. He didn't say his spirit was leading man. He's talking about the sons of Yah. He ain't talking about these men up in Genesis 1. These are the serpent seeds up in Genesis 1. And the sons of Yah got detached of seeing what the serpent seed men were doing, and they decided to take on what they were doing. And that's why he said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for they are also flesh, as if nobody didn't know that. But he was explaining to you, mine's got my seed in them. It's the spiritual seed. But they also flesh. Wow! That's what he's trying to explain. That's who the Son of Man, that's who the sons of Yah is. The sons of Yah are flesh, but they got the spirit of Yah in them. We come down here with his spirit. We are born from the creation with the spirit of Yah, but we born into a world or a land that Satan has been tossed to deceive. So we all are going to be deceived. But now he said, when Yeshua comes, he comes to die for all mankind, the serpent seed and the spiritual seed, but he's come to die for all seeds, which is the spiritual seed and the serpent seed, but he come to rise up from death for the spiritual seed. Praise the mighty Yah. Because he that is born of the Spirit is the only one that's going to rise with Christ. He went down in the grave for the flesh, but he rose up in the Spirit to conquer all victory of the Father. It is done. It is finished. That's what it was all about. It is finished. He done finished the ultimate mystery. And here we walking around here thinking we know something. We didn't understand the death of the Son of Man had to go down for all flesh, but come up for all those that's born of the Spirit. When he rose from the grave, he was only bringing up life back unto those that was born of the Spirit. I died for all mankind, which was flesh. But when I rise, devil, tell them I'm coming for those that are born of the Spirit. Y'all got it wrong? Y'all got it wrong. And it's okay. It's okay. So I want to lay that in there. Just as Genesis 6, men and daughters were the serpent seed, as Adam and Eve were the serpent seed. That's why they never hesitate. Yeah, I wore the Father out on that. He said, you ask too many questions. You know man can't answer. I'm going to teach you. Because I asked him, I said, well, they had trees, and then the tree of life and the tree of... Why did they just go straight to this one? That don't make no sense. He said, Deborah, you've been taught what took place before the foundation of the world. Why he got to take me back to what took place before the foundation of the world all the time? Because he know there he taught me that which was, that which is, and that which shall come is finished. Heaven got it all locked out. It's wrote down. It is written. Why you think the Son of Man had to go to the mountain of mental with Satan? Why do you think he had to fast? Because he had to shut the flesh down. Wait a minute. If he had to shut the flesh down, where was this Son of Yah at? He had to stand down so that the Son of Man can teach us how to go to the mountaintop in our flesh and know that we don't have to live on bread alone, but every word that proceed out of the mouth of Yah. Not every words that proceed out of the mouth of man. That's a lie from the deep part of the pit of hell. That now one was able to come up out of it itself. But you all have brought lies. That's what that was all about. That's the whole Yeshua, the Son of Man, was our example. We were supposed to behold him in the spiritual realm and watch him in the spiritual realm. What do you mean in the spiritual realm? Our spirit man supposed to see him in the spirit realm doing the natural work of the Father, doing the natural work of that Yah gave him to do in the flesh. So we too know that we are born in the flesh, but we are of the Spirit of Yah. And we can believe that we don't live on flesh. That's what he's saying. But we live on every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yah. Tell me, how is the word receiving out of the mouth of Yah? And everybody's mouth wide open in all these books. Solomon says, don't get caught up in many books, because it brings worrisome to what? The flesh. Known fact. Successfully, even to today. People going to and fro, trying to prove a point to people that somebody don't know what they talking about, but they know what they talking about. Baby, you are born of the flesh. Sit down, clowns. Okay? So, when I get to 1 John chapter 2 and verse 15 and verse 8 through 8. 1 John chapter 2, verse 15 through 8. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. See, y'all is already calling that thing up and calling it down. All of this matches, y'all. Everything I'm saying, this matches. But this is the part of us that we cannot grip. Because when you are born of the flesh, you are of the flesh. If you're the serpent seed, you'll never grip what I'm saying. You'll never grip what I'm saying if you're born of the flesh. Okay? Oh, when he said, when you're born of the Spirit, when he says born again, what he mean is, we all come to the world born from daddy to mother, and we come unto the world. To be born again is when the day, the hour, the second, the minute that the Father have brought you to the light. You see, you can have been in the world born for 15 years old, and all of a sudden the light turned on, and you begin to represent Him. You see what I'm saying? So this born again, it means that it's the day and the hour when Yah revealed to you that you have the light on you. You see? You have been branded for His name's sake. You might not know that when you 20, 25. You might know it. Look at Sister Deborah. What did I tell y'all? I try to get y'all. And I'm hearing a lot of people now talking about it. I've been doing it since I was 4 years old. I can actually go back to that time. This one guy said he was doing it even before 4 years old. I was shocked. They was in a conversation. We was talking. And I was on somebody else's page and I was talking and they would start chiming in. Yeah, I remember when he did that. This one man said, yes, you're right, because he was dealing with me before 4, younger than 4. I would say, see there? Y'all just don't understand. So he can deal with you when you're 60, 80, 90. It's when that light turn on. You know how you're sure he was called, but the most information we got is when 13. You see what I'm saying? And not just him, but any and everybody. Look at David. His light didn't come on until what? He was 15, 16, 17. This is what I'm trying to say to you all. This is what you call born again. Born again is when you come out of your mother's womb, from your daddy to your mother birthed you. You come out and you're waiting to be born again, meaning brought to the light for the calling of the will of the righteous will of Yah. That's what born again means. And everybody that's going to be born of the light, which is the seed of the Spirit, oh, they're going to be born. I don't care what they do in life. They coming up, honey. You already locked into the books. The books are sealed. You already locked in. You see? So that's why I say if you're in the Lamb Book of Life, you're already in there. And you recognize now the light has come on. And it's like you're born again out of now the natural. Now you understand in the spirit. So born again is when you understand now in the spirit. That's what born again. 99.9 of people, especially among the Catholics and the Christians, the Jehovah Witness, and many others, even the Hebrew Israelite. They don't understand, baby. You you must be born again. That must be born again is saying you ain't entering it into the kingdom if you not born of the Spirit. You're not entering in. Because I like to say to many people when I wasn't baptized in the water. What was all these gifts that I got in the spirit realm? What did I do? Nothing. You don't do nothing. But when you're born again, it's when your spiritual purpose has been identified to your fleshly body. That's why when he sent me to Atlanta, I began to cry, and I was trying to learn what he wanted me to do and what he wanted me to say. And I was telling him I wasn't feeling it. It didn't seem like these people had any thing to do with the spiritual realm. And he was saying they don't. They don't. And they content. And that's how it is on this devil platform. They ain't no different than the world. They ain't no different than the Christians. They got you thinking they are because they said Ahaya, Ahaya, or Yahuwah, Yahuwah, and all this other stuff. Baby, born again, that's when you come to the knowledge from the inside. He steps in you and let that light glow in you. That's when you're born again. He's already there, but he turns the light on in you to separate you from your flesh. That's what born again means. And that's also numbered. It is written along with the works in the heaven. See how people got power over people and people trying to mimic the power that man has over them. You got to look this way, dress this way, act this way, eat this, do this, do this. When you finish seeing that, that's all flesh. That's all on the outer man. And that's what they're trained to do. To make you think it's all about what we are doing on the outside is greater than who y'all are. No, baby. No, baby. You ain't nothing but faking it, thinking you're making it. And y'all is looking at your works. And a lot of people do not understand. Yah does not give you anything on this earth for you and yours. That's the problem I had at 58. I was like, I don't understand. Why is it always give me? And Father told me, Deborah, you got the characteristics of who I am. He said, look what I gave this whole world. And I ain't never got nothing in return. So what are you talking about? See, that's how he checked me. He put me in the line of who he is. And he checked me up and he checked me down. And what do? I bow down. See, that's why I like him. And I refuse to make y'all think that books on this earth, Bibles are going to override who he is. How can he who is the word be overrode or override by books? But it is. It's the form of deception, the biggest one, strong delusion. All that stuff is hidden high. But it makes sense because we are in that what? End day. D-A-Y. And I ain't saying days either. That's just showing you he ain't playing. Okay? So here in John, 1 John chapter 2 and verse 15 through 18, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in them. Praise the mighty God. Verse 16, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, and the lust of the eyes, and the pride. Let me tell y'all something. I, as a prophetess in the wilderness, have seen the level of pride. I would tell you 99% on this YouTube. These people got a heavy level of pride. They can hear your message and run back and do their search and crank up and thinking if it's two of us, then we can prove the point. You can't prove nothing, baby. You're proving flesh. You see, it's just amazing, the pride level. The pride is so high. They're whining to you all about, we need to repent. We need to turn. And everything was done before the foundation of the world. But on this end, you hear them talking with this high level of boasting and pride minded. And I'm like, but he said, if it was so. And when you hear it says, if, it's letting you know it is not with what is mine. He knows he got the elects. And his elect cannot be fooled. And this is what people battle against, the elects of God. Like in the Bible days, what were they saying they were doing? The prophets, they lost their lives. Why? Because of righteous, not because of unrighteous. That's why they prefer calling us today those that are righteous. They would call us unrighteous. Even when they know deep down inside, the deeper, deep in them, that you ain't unrighteous, that you are righteous. But because your words carry power, carry righteous, they will go up against you just to make themselves feel that they are the righteous. See, righteous ain't based on a feeling. How about that? How about that? Righteous is what you are from the inside out. You don't have to prove it on the outside what you are on the inside, because the one that's in there with you is the greatest in the whole world. So you're going to play that worldly game with yourself, because that's what a lot of y'all are doing. It's clowning. So what it says in verse 16, 1 John chapter 2 and verse 16, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. What he's telling you, oh, these are all the things of the flesh. These are all things of the flesh. Watch this here. Is not of the Father, but is of the world. See, that's what people don't understand. And it's not meant, he says it's over, it's finished, Deborah. And they ain't going to understand, because I already separate who's who and what's what. So he that don't is separated for the serpent seed or born of the flesh, they are not and never will and cannot understand he that speaks in spirit and truth. He that is of the spirit. You see, they're not going to understand. He said, I put intimate between them, Deborah. They're not supposed to come on no one accord. This is why you got so much breakdown and division. This is why there's no unity in nothing. Because me as a prophetess knows that there is a body of Hamashiach. And there's hundreds and thousands of those that Yah has called to the body. They are called the church saints. And then we recognize that the Hamashiach is the head of our body. So the Hamashiach is the power over the body. Then you got those that's in the world thinking that I'm on this devil platform and I am the body. I am the head. No, baby, he ain't never created it like that. That's why, but what they do, they get on here and they be debating and going up against everything somebody say. That shows them that they are the seed of Satan. Because you're going up against the spiritual seed. And because the spiritual seed is saying something that making your flesh be so offended and so hurt. Oh, I got to prove wrong. Baby, ain't nothing in these books can prove. Not this sister wrong and no other elect. Especially the prophetess and the prophets of the Most High God. We can't be proven wrong that way. Why is it we can't be proven wrong? Because if he is greater in us, he is our conviction. He's our conviction right then and there. Sister Deborah, I told y'all, let me say something, do something wrong. He checked me right then and there. See, you get what I'm saying? So people being offended in what you're saying and thinking they can say